Look, there's been a deliberate sabotage of the bureaucracy at Nelson Mandela Bay. That's the first thing that anyone who speaks to you must make a concession of. It's not a mistake. There's been a deliberate recruitment of incompetent people, a deliberate vacuum being created where there's, for example, vacancies for 9 executive directors across departments, so that there can be a centralization of power by the corrupt, and they can be able to appoint people who are in acting capacity, who can then be manipulated to enhance patronage, to enhance corruption, because you know that you're going to serve for 3-month terms, and then for you to return again, you must ensure that you've serviced this patronage, you've serviced this corruption. So they create a deliberate governance crisis, so there can be permanent actors in strategic positions of power in terms of officials, and those people can then be manipulated to enhance corruption. That's the first concession we must make. So what we are going to do is
Before
ensure,
we even get to what you're going to do, let me ask you then a direct question.
Yeah.
Is Nelson Mandela Bay currently being governed by people who are more interested in stealing from the municipality than serving the people?
I would say so, but not necessarily those who are governing it, but it has been enhanced. The officials of that space have been enhanced to be the ones who are in charge. And it's something the EFF has called out historically across all municipalities, that officials seem to have more power than democratically elected councillors. And democratically elected councillors are incentivized to look away when there's corruption. And that corruption is perpetuated by officials themselves. Hence, I'm saying to you that there's a replacement of people who are in acting roles, who are then manipulated to, if you want your 3-month term to consistently be extended, you must ensure that you enhance mechanisms of corruption. I mean, this acting city manager you're talking about, the EFF was at the forefront of fighting her, was because she was implicated in a corruption scandal for tenders of toilets to the tune of 2 million, if I'm not mistaken. We ensured that she was suspended, but you can see that in the governance structure, in terms of ensuring there's a disciplinary hearing and that she's ultimately dismissed, no one is working on that, which meant that she is suspended and being paid for almost 2.5 years now. So you can see there's intentional corruption that is being enhanced by the fact that vacuums are created. So what we need to do at Nelson Mandela Bay is clean house first of all. And then we recruit competent people who've got the necessary required skills into permanent positions so that no one can be manipulated, that if you want this 3-month term, which is determined on a council vote, to be extended, then you must ensure you enhance my access to street light tenders. Then you must ensure you enhance my access to transformer leasing. Then you must ensure you enhance my access to street or road tenders. But what you must also pick up is that none of the work is being done. I mean, Nelson Mandela Bay returns billions in money to Treasury every year. Do you know why? Because what they do is that if you are tendering in that municipality and you don't pay kickbacks to officials, then they would rather send that money back to Treasury than actually conduct service delivery. So if we can't eat, then the whole city must suffer. That's another thing we need to deal with, which is why we're saying we need to do away with the tender system. We need to ensure that the municipality has its own capacity to build and maintain roads, maintain sewage infrastructure, build street lights, and of course create jobs. Because the tender system is at the center of the corruption which filters into the governance system of Nelson Mandela Bay.
Do you not think that then it's time for us to really have a look at how tenders are administered in the country?
Absolutely. As the EFF, we're saying that we must build state capacity, and we've been saying it for the longest time. We're at the forefront of insourcing security guards, cleaners, and we're saying that even the most basic functions of all these municipalities, accountancy, should be insourced and they should be done in-house, because those tenders are at the center of the collapse of these municipalities. People are paid to do work, they start it, they don't complete it, if they started at all. People are using companies that are from their relatives or their wives or their family members, and they are politicians, and in turn doing business with the municipalities that they govern over. And when you hear organizations like the DA saying that they're going to hand over municipal functions to the private sector, they are essentially saying let's continue with the same track record that we're continuing with. But they are saying that BEE must come to an end, but they want private sector control of municipal functions, meaning that they want these tenders to happen but not to be given to black entrepreneurs, but it's given to white entrepreneurs. As the EFF was saying, whether you're black or white, we don't want tendering in municipalities. We want the state to be able to conduct its functions. But also on top of that, private sector does not have the interest of servicing people. They don't have a social contract with me and you that you have voted for by me, hence you must deliver services. Theirs is profit accumulation and purely that. So if you are paying expensive rates now under a municipality governed by democratically elected people, imagine what's going to happen when electricity is being controlled by a business and a company. What's going to happen when water provision is being controlled by the private sector. So these are things we must look out for. But at the center of corruption and collapse of municipalities is tendering. And as the EFF was saying, it must come to an end.